Hello and good evening. While the Indian team or the head coach Rahul Dravid kept his cards close to his chest as far as India's playing 11 was concerned, the England team, they've announced their playing 11 for the rescheduled fifth test against India that begins tomorrow at Edgbaston. And I'll just go through the 11, what exactly it is. But it looks a pretty solid English team, except for one minor hiccup that they've had. That was in the last test that they played against New Zealand. Of course, they won the series. The English team won the series 3-0, and now they're well prepared for this one-off test or the rescheduled fifth test against India. So I'll quickly go through the English team that will the playing 11. Alex Lees, who's still new in his international career, continues to retain. He's retained his place. Alex Lees. He got 150 in that series against New Zealand. Then Zach Crawley, of course, he was below par as far as his performance was concerned against New Zealand. Then Oli Pope. Who played one down in that entire series and did a pretty decent job. Got a good daddy 100, close to 150 runs in that first test, if I'm not wrong, at Lords, and then also another knock that he played in Nottingham. Then Joe Root, of course. Also is there, and Johnny Besto. What an incredible form he is in, and he was perhaps the difference between England and New Zealand in that series that England eventually won 3-0. Ben Stokes, the newly appointed captain, if I can say so, because he's already played one series as captain and won that series. Then Sam Billings comes in for Ben Foakes. You would remember, firstly, Ben Foakes has been sidelined because of COVID, and he is replaced by Sam Billings, who did play in the second innings. Of course, he didn't get to bat in that innings because Johnny Besto was good enough to get England over the line. So Sam Billings was drafted into the team after Ben Foakes had tested positive for COVID. Matthew Potts, who had a pretty good debut against New Zealand, picked up 14 wickets in that series against New Zealand. Then Stuart Broad, Jack Leach, and James Anderson. So James Anderson and Stuart Broad, those two fast bowlers, a lot of experience between them, close to 1,000 wickets, test wickets between them, and Jack Leach, the lone left arm spinner in that 11. Jack Leach, the last test that in fact England played against New Zealand, he was man of the match, picked up a 10 wicket haul in that match. But one of the reasons why they've gone in with they can actually afford to go in with just one spinner, because Joe Root also bowls off spin, so that compensates. They can still go in with just one spinner in Jack Leach. So James Anderson, Stuart Broad, Matthew Potts, and Ben Stokes will be their four fast bowlers, and Jack Leach will be the fifth bowler, of course, a spinner. And then Joe Root, he had a pretty good bowling performance the last time England toured India. He bowled really well and is a good enough off spinner. So that is England's 11 against India. India today will have an optional practice session. Of course, a few players will be seen there who've not had too much of practice, just the lone practice game in Leicester. Can't say that it was against Leicester, because a lot of Indians also played in that sort of an intra-squad match in Leicester. And Rohit Sharma, of course, he will be tested again for COVID this morning. Of course, we are ahead. In fact, as we speak, he must have given his sample by now, and we'll get to know in the evening what happens with that. So this is England's 11. I'll just go through it once again. So Alex Lees, Zach Crawley, Oli Pope, Joe Root, Johnny Bairstow, Ben Stokes, Sam Billings, Matthew Potts, Stuart Broad, Jack Leach, James Anderson. Going by this 11, everybody in this 11 must be very confident, not just because of the series win that they had against New Zealand, but also their own contribution. Alex Lees and Zach Crawley, although the opening combination looks a little brittle. Alex Lee is still new in this English team, has played 5 or 6 test matches so far, got 150 in that series against New Zealand recently. Zach Crawley, of course, he was below par in that entire series. Oli Pope did well. Joe Root did well. Johnny Bairstow did incredibly well. Ben Stokes was good too. Sam Billings, of course, a new entrant at the expense of Ben Foakes, who was tested positive for COVID. Matthew Potts had a very good debut series, picked up 14 wickets in that 3-match test series. Stuart Broad, Jack Leach and James Anderson. So one player who's missing in this 11 from the one that played against New Zealand in that last series, in that last test match against New Zealand, is Jamie Overton. Of course, Jamie Overton goes out and Jimmy Anderson comes back into the 11. So this is England's 11 for the rescheduled 5th test match against India that begins tomorrow at Edgbaston. We'll get you more information from the Indian camp later in the evening, so do watch this space and do subscribe to Sports Today. We'll be back soon.